Hey there and welcome back to the video series. In the previous video we wrote the code so that we were able to create a new review in the Firebase Realtime Database, and we could see it from, if we go to the console, we can see we have two reviews here, but we don't have anything on the front end. We don't have the R in CRUD, the read or retrieve or whatever you want to call it. So we cannot see the reviews right now, but we're going to do this. So the first thing that we need to do is that we also need to have an event listener on the reviews ref that we made up here. That is a reference from the database that holds all the reviews that is currently loaded into the database. So if we say reviews ref and we write on, then we have an event called child added. Then we make a function here. Whoop. So what should we do in here? First is that we made this UL in the front end where we would populate using Firebase. So we're going to insert dynamically li items with each review in it. But of course we're not going to write them here. We're going to do this dynamically using JavaScript. So if we go back to the app.js file, let's make a new list item here. Whoop. So we're going to create a new element that is a list item. We're going to set the ID to the key of the data, because we get this whenever there is a new child added in or a new node added in Firebase. It's gonna send the new node as the data, and we can get the information from this object here. So if we write first the ID and we write the inner HTML. So let's just first take the value. So we can see what happens here. We're gonna append the child here and we're gonna put the li. Right. So we're gonna take the reviews, and that was a reference to our unordered list in the front end, and we're gonna append a new child that is the list item that we made up here. And the list item has the key as the ID, and then we just put the value as the inner HTML. If we take a look at what happens now, if we load up again, we can see we have two objects here. So we got some data, but it's not really formatted in the way we want. If we want to see what is actually behind this value, we can go for full name, because we know that a review has full name and message. So if we refresh now, we can see we actually got the users3 and new one. That comes from Firebase. So we can get the properties from this value. Message. What happens? So that was the wrong one there. Yeah, awesome picture as we wrote it. So we have data. We just need to format it in the right way. Okay. So how can we actually format this in the right way? Well, one way is that we can create a method that formats this in a nice way. And I'm just gonna write the code here so we can see how we do this. If we make kind of a template, and the template is gonna accept an array of elements. So we can see we have full name, message, and created at. And if we take, let's see here, first we need to get the date. Yeah, and the reason is that if we just write the created at date, it's gonna print out the timestamp in milliseconds, and we want to have a nicely formatted date instead. So we're gonna write new date and then just input the created at date there. All right, so we got the formatted date there, and if we write it even better, we can write something like this, make a string like this. So if we have div, we have a label that is the full name. So I'm actually making HTML right now, and of course if you had a template engine or something, you could probably make this even smarter than I'm doing right now, but it's just to have a way to actually print out these values in a somewhat easy way. So if we take this strong and we take label, we're just making this, then we can input the like this, then we can input a value. So if we take the full name, whoop, that was a mistake there. So let's see how this one looks. Okay, so it needs something more, but let's just see how this looks like. If we switch out the inner HTML, it needs to have some HTML, and this is what it's get. So if we write review template, whoop, review template here, and we provide the data that it needs because it comes in an array. If we take a look at how this looks like, so we can see we actually get something here. It says undefined right now. Let me see. Yeah, of course we need to switch out to the value here, so it will actually take the value and not the key, for instance, and the whole object. So now it should, you can see here, now we get the full name, we have the user 3, new one here. Okay, so awesome. So we got some data. So if we copy this and we put in message, whoop, doesn't need to be strong there. So we got the message up and running now. Yep, so we can see we got full name and we have the message as well, and almost done here. Just need to get 2 buttons. Because we want to enable the user to actually edit this or delete this. So we're going to make one called delete, and it says delete here. Whoop. So we can see we have a button now in the end here, and we also need to have one that is called update, so that a user can actually update it and part of the CRUD. Call this edit. And we should get a few breaks in the end here, just to get some space there. Probably could do this in CSS easier. But now we can see we have the reviews here, we have delete, we got update for each. So if I'm creating a new review here, new user and good tacos. So let's see here. So we got there, good tacos, new user 5. So we can actually see the data now in a simple way though. Okay, so that was a simple way to actually format the data that we got from Firebase. We made a function that took the individual data and formatted it and printed out HTML as the list item once. And we are preparing it for delete, so the user can actually delete it or update it, and we're going to write the code afterwards that will allow us to do this. So that is pretty much all for this video, where we made the, now we have the create, we have the read, so now we need the update and delete as we have prepared here. Okay, all right, thanks for watching, and I hope you make this work. Bye bye.